Well, hey, all you wiretappers, good to be back here in studio of Gangland Wire. I have a guest today, which is, as you can see, if you're looking, it's Gianni Russo, and I know a lot of you guys know Johnny. He has been a character, a mover and a shaker in this mob entertainment business for a long time, starting with The Godfather. I think the first time we heard of him, and he somehow got selected for the part to get beat up by James Caan and earned the reputation of being a wife beater. Now, that was all fiction, you guys realize that was all fictionalized for the story. But anyhow, welcome, Johnny. It's great to have you on the show.
Always, my man. So much fun, always.
All
No, and
right.
I love the fact you're still doing it, and the intrigue of the mob is never going away.
Never going away, is it? It's gotten more in the last. I've been doing this for 5, 6 years, and it's gotten more and more each year. It's
Well,
crazy.
yeah, the funniest thing you say that most people don't know I own all the IP of The Godfather, all
Ah,
the intellectual property.
yeah.
Like if all your listeners go on right now to Corleone Fine Italian Foods,
Uh-huh.
my all my food. I'm in 83 countries, Gary.
That's right. You got in the food business, didn't you? Crazy,
Food
crazy,
business. I got in
crazy.
the liquor business. I mean, clothing. I mean, it's crazy. My clothing line is called La Cosa Mia by Gianni. I try to keep everything in the mob feeling.
Well, now you got a new book out called Mafia Secrets: Untold Tales from the Hollywood Godfather, and we're going to talk a little bit about those mafia secrets. Which that's what that's what we all want to know. We want to know the secrets of the mafia. I think that's part of the je ne sais quoi, the little bit something different. What's intriguing about the mafia is this code of omerta and the secrets that they had tried to keep over the
That's why,
years.
the situation with this book here that you're talking about, that this book, on the one of the cover notes is Scorsese had it wrong in Casino.
Interesting.
Because one of the highlights, one of the big chapters in here, it's pretty gory. I mean, we were just
Yeah.
talking about Michael Benson prior to going on. This guy is really a great graphic writer, and I mean, when he's talking about killing somebody, you could smell the blood.
Cool. That's what we like. Well, let's
But
talk just a
Tony's
little bit about your
logical.
history, your background. You go clear back to Frank Costello when you were a kid in New York City. You grew up in New York, right? Tell us a little
I'm
bit
sitting
about
in his
that.
apartment. In 73, when he died, he left it to me. I've been in this
Huh?
apartment 70, I've been in
Oh,
this
really?
apartment 71 years.
On the Upper East Side, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
My
yeah.
dining room sits 16. I mean, it's ridiculous. People come and say, how could you afford it? I said, I can't. It was given to me.
Really, especially these days.
Oh, my
Now, you still
God.
living in New York City?
Oh, yeah. That's my base. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a house in Sicily I've had for a while now. I bought different properties in different where I like going.
Yeah.
And then I kept them all. But I'm the only guy, even when I bought my boat, they said, oh, that's going to be a money pit that's going to eat all your money up.
Yeah.
So I bought a boat when I was 21. I bought a Riva, a 148-foot Riva.
Damn.
And I was good friends with Grace Kelly because Grace was going to the Barbizon School right around the corner on 62nd Street.
Hmm.
Well, I got to know all of these young actresses when they were just coming up. So that's how I got invited to her wedding. Sinatra couldn't believe I got invited to the wedding. But what
Well,
happened is I got the boat, and the boat had a slip in Monaco.
yeah.
So I used to go there April, stay on my boat for a couple of months, and then I gave it to the Carlton Hotel to lease out.
Yeah,
I
that's a
made
nice
money
deal.
from that boat every year.
I'll bet. And so it wasn't a hole in the water you stuck money in, as we say. That's what you always hear about a boat. So, speaking of money and money, you talked about money laundering for the Vatican. Now, I heard a story here in Kansas City. Bear with me. This guy he wanted to buy a church. He gave like $1 million donation, and the only way they'd take it if he had it converted to gold, actual gold, and he took it
Yeah.
over to the Vatican. Does that sound right to you?
That we do. Well, I used to do that myself. So I mean, I
Okay.
know that. But gold got too heavy, and then when they put all these restrictions after 9/11, you would
Yeah.
never get on the plane.
Uh,
So I did something new. I'll reveal it to your audience. I started buying diamonds,
mhm.
which they don't even reflect going through the machine. So I have a solid gold Davidoff cigar holder.
Yeah.
I put 100 carats of diamonds in it. I put it in my suit jacket. I don't smoke. It goes right through the machine.
Huh. Interesting.
I guess every drug dealer in the world is doing it because
It
it goes
probably
right
smell
through. No
it
problem.
smell that cocaine going through the machine. Be all over that
Oh, yeah.
cocaine. Try that.
I mean, I never took a drug, thank God.
Yeah,
Never
me
took.
neither. So I see in the background you got the Godfather. I mean, this is I know it's been told before, but we got some guys out here that may not know that story. How did you get that part anyhow? You were the son-in-law of the Godfather and the brother-in-law to Sonny
James Cone.
Corleone, James Caan's character. How'd you get that part?
Well, I left the country for about 3 or 4 years after the Kennedy assassination because I mean I was a messenger. I knew nothing about who, what, and where,
Yeah.
but they wanted to question me. So Costello sent me on a nice trip, and while I was out, the book of The Godfather came out. So I'm an illiterate. I had somebody read it to me because I never went to school. Because when I got out of Bellevue from polio, I was 12 years old already. And then I was selling ballpoint pens on the street corners. And that's how I met Costello. And the
Yeah.
rest was history. But so what happened to me was that I had to read the book. And then I was in LA. I landed in LA because nobody knew my name because Costello named me the kid. They couldn't even get a subpoena on me. Who's the kid? What's his last name? What's his first name? People got to know my name once The Godfather came out. That
Oh
was
yeah.
it, which was great. I mean, the guy was a genius. But long story short, I read that, Joe Colombo created the Italian Anti-Defamation League in
Yeah.
New York, and he had a big rally in 71, and 100,000 people came, and cops got stabbed and everything else. The only good thing he did do was hire Barry Schlotnick, a great Jewish attorney.
Hmm.
And in fact, his son now is still my attorney.
Oh,
So,
really?
but a long story short, I came to see Costello. I mean, Colombo. I was in L.A. I said, Joe, you're going to be in the club on 86th Street tomorrow morning. I'm going to fly in from L.A. He said, yeah, come on over. I just want to see you. I haven't seen you in a while. So I get there, and there's a car outside. He says, come on, we're going to go to the new headquarters on Madison Avenue. And that day, I met Barry Schlotnick, and they were telling me what they were doing. I said, well, whatever you don't like in the book, now that you got this great attorney, why don't we have a meeting with Paramount? And whatever you don't like in the film that you think is detrimental to the Italian image, if they take it out, we can make a lot of money. He said, we? I swear I got the idea. What do you mean? This ain't a
Yeah.
gift. I don't have a red suit and a white beard on.
We. I don't see a mouse in my pocket. What's this we?
So that with that said, I told him what my idea was. He said, could you get it on? I said, give me permission to go talk to you. So unbeknownst to me, when I shot that screen test in LA, I shot it on 18 millimeter mag stripe film.
Yeah.
And unbeknownst to me, Francis Ford Coppola was trying to convince them to do it in a sepia tone. Don't shoot it in color or black and white.
Mhm.
Give it a sepia tone so it has that old tinge to it.
Yeah.
And I happened to buy 18 millimeter film that was old. It came out sepia. So I've always said my life has always got opportunities and obstacles. Thank
Yeah.
God I got more opportunities. Well, this was an opportunity because they passed my test to everybody. Bobby Evans, Stanley Jaffe, everybody saw the test. They didn't know me. They didn't even care about that. It was the sepia tone. So when I walked in the Gulf and Western building the next morning, They're all looking at me. They know me. And I'm saying, how they all know me? But I only knew Bobby Evans because he was going out with Ali McGraw at that time. I walked right over to him. I said, you have a big problem in New York. I think I could straighten out. He said, oh, no, we got no problem here. I said,
Yeah,
I just left Joe Colombo. You got a problem.
you do have
He
a problem.
said, you just left Joe Colombo? I said, yeah. I said, he wants to meet. Will he come here? I said, I'll bring him anywhere you want. So they should bring him here tomorrow, 10 o'clock. So I go back down Madison Avenue, down 59th Street and Madison Avenue. I said, Joe, we got to go tomorrow. He said, great, let's do it. I said, but do me a favor. They know the book in and out. Obviously, they bought the script. They got Mario
Yeah,
Puzo and the director, Coppola, writing it.
Coppola. Yeah,
Let us just go with two of your heavies. So we took a Butter Esther Chico, who was a Butcher DeChico, was a tough guy collecting for them. And the other guy was Lenny Montana, who got the part of Luca Brasi in the
the
movie.
Cabrazzi. Yeah, that's right. They probably saw him, said, "I want him for heavy in the
Yeah.
mob."
So we go with these two guys, Barry Schlotnick, Joe, and I. The five of us only go. We go up to the 33rd floor. Everybody's there. Even the Charlie Bluedorn, who just bought Paramount. And they're all talking, and Barry addressed all the things and said, we'll go through the script. If you agree to make the changes, I think we can work out a deal. We'll guarantee you all the locations you want, all the neighborhoods, get the cooperation. And they're getting up there shaking hands. So I'm still sitting. I said, Joe, I pull out his sleeve. I said, Joe, what about me? So he goes to them, what about my boy here? Oh, we'll give him a part. I said, excuse me. Joe, tell him to sit down. He didn't tell him to sit down. He went like this, like God. They all sat. So I got up. I said, listen, I brought this guy here. This is going to work. Now, I want a big part. I said, who's playing Michael? So they all looked at each other. And this may shock your audience. James Caan was playing Michael originally.
I think I read that somewhere originally.
Yeah, originally. And then I said, well, who's playing Sonny? They said, Carmine Caridi. He's in a play called The Man from La Mancha. They thought he should be a big, brawly guy.
Yeah.
So I said, who's playing Carlo? Says, we didn't get there yet. So I said to Costello, I said, I want to play Carlo. So he looked at them. Stanley Jaff, everybody was there. He says, he's playing Carlo. They all looked at each other. So Ruddy starts to say, well, are you in the union? I said, excuse me. I did my homework. New York is a Taft-Hartley Act state. You
Yeah.
give me a list for the part, I'll go get in the union.
Yeah.
That's how I got the part. Joe Colombo cast me in the movie, nobody else.
Interesting. Interesting.
It changed my life. 55 years later, here we are.
Oh yeah, here we are. You talked about JFK, and I've already done a couple other shows here recently. That's kind of a hot topic right now. It seems like with the release of all these documents and everything. You had some dealings with Joe Kennedy, maybe, and as well as
How I met Joe Kennedy. Joe Kennedy and Frank Costello during Prohibition,
yeah,
they made $30 million each. That's like $3 billion today in the
yeah,
30s.
damn,
And he went to Costello early on because he wanted his son to become president. And the deal he made with the mob, and nobody realized it, he said, if my son becomes president, the first thing he will do that week was invade Cuba and give you all your casinos back. So it was a win-win deal, a great deal, everybody. So now, obviously, we know he wins. The mistake they made was put Bobby Kennedy in as Attorney General. He hated all these guys. He hated all his father's friends. And he started going after them, Marcellus, all of them. So 1 year goes by, 2 years go by. I'm at Cal Neva. He says, go to Cal Neva. I want you to be up there. Be my eyes and ears. I did that a lot. Now, for your audience, Cal Neva is a casino built in Nevada on the California border.
Mm-hmm.
So if you were in the black book or a mob guy and can't go into casinos, you stood in the bungalows on the California side.
Ah,
When you want to go to the casino, you walked across the pool, you were in there.
yeah. Didn't Frank Sinatra have a piece of that? Wasn't that
Oh
his
yeah.
place for?
Yeah. Sinatra had in fact, I was there with Sinatra. When I
Yeah,
got there, Sinatra was there. Marilyn Monroe was there, and a couple of, and Sam Giancana from Chicago.
yeah,
And he was running the whole thing. And what they wanted Marilyn to do was to sleep with Bobby because when John became president, he convinced Marilyn, I can't see you anymore for a year or two
yeah,
because I'm a Catholic boy. But in a year or two, I'll divorce Jackie and marry you. That's how naive she was.
yeah.
So we know that didn't happen.
No.
So Bobby was supposed to keep an eye on her. Well, he kept a couple of hands and everything else on her, too. That night, we found out she just had an abortion 6 weeks with Bobby's kid.
Man.
And she was hysterical. She said, I'm going to the press. These Kennedys are phony. And we all looked at each other. I flew right back to New York. He said, how'd that meeting go? I said, it didn't go. She ain't doing it. He said, what are you talking about? He said, she just had an abortion with Bobby's kid and she's going to the press. And this was a Monday morning. Gary, you won't believe this. I said to him, they can't kill her. She's a big movie star.
Yeah.
He says, they'll kill her, believe me. On Thursday, she was dead.
Mm.
And it's funny you brought this up. This past Saturday, on the 8th, I dedicated a street on Park Avenue in 68th Street to Dorothy Kilgallen,
Yeah.
who was
I just
doing
heard
the
about that.
investigation on the
Yeah.
Kennedy assassination
Yeah.
and
It
the
was
Marilyn Monroe assassination.
yeah. She had a mysterious death herself after she had really dug into that big
The
time.
same guy. I know the same anesthesiologist that killed Marilyn.
Yeah.
All he did was inject her with oxygen in her fallopian organ in her groin. You're not going to see it through the pubic hairs. So, and
Yeah.
when every time they wanted to exhume her body, there's what are you going to exhume? It's oxygen. There's nothing there.
Mm.
I mean, Marilyn always had barbiturates in her system. She lived
Yeah.
on them.
Now there's a guy from Chicago that claims that a guy named called the German Frank Suisse was going around Chicago claiming he was the one that off Marilyn Monroe. Have you ever heard that story?
Unless he's an anesthesiologist, he's full of shit.
Okay.
Plain
All right.
English.
And a lot of stories about Marilyn Monroe's death, isn't there? And JFK's
Oh
and
my God.
RFK's. There's a lot of stuff out there about that you don't know what
That's
to
why
believe
it'll
anymore.
never come out. And it's so I mean, wait, you know what's so interesting to me? I got to know Marilyn Monroe and Dorothy Kilgallen because I got caught on the streets of New York. I was 15 and a half by a truant officer. And as you got to go to school till you're 16. This was in August. So I give Costello the ticket. He says, I'll handle it. So he says to me, when you come out of Dempsey's upstairs, there's Wilford Academy. I said, I'm no fanoke. I don't want to become a hairdresser. You're crazy. He said, no, just check in and leave. You're going to meet me at 11, go there at 9 o'clock, and don't stay. So I got there, Gary, the first day. And it was just like you said. The girls had just signed the book because they'll come and check and then leave. So I look over her shoulder. There's 30 young girls there. 30 young girls. We're going to find 30 young girls in New York City at 9 o'clock in the morning.
There you go.
I was there every day for a couple hours before I had to meet him.
Working that Russo charm, no doubt.
No, so, but that's how I got to meet Marilyn because Kenneth and Mark Sinclair, they were lovers. When they said they were partners, I didn't know what they meant. I thought they were partners in the business. They were hairdressers for Lily Dashay. They came there looking for shampoo boys.
Hmm.
And again, a great opportunity. They hired me. So now I didn't have to go to school. I get the credits. I'm making tips over in Lily Dashay. She was on 56th and Park. And the fourth head of hair, I'm washing Marilyn Monroe. I couldn't believe it.
You're 15?
I was 15 and a half.
Wow.
That was August and December. I could walk out. So now, and it's not like I want your audience to know, it's not like a salon where we have all the shampoo basins lined up. These
Yeah.
were rooms. These ladies changed, they got out
Oh,
of their
high end.
cashmere, all that,
Yeah.
and put a robe on. So she's laying back in the sink because the maid put her in the sink already. I walk in, read the card, and I don't even know how long I was staring at her because I went
Yeah,
to
I
see
bet.
Something Like It Hot. I saw Something Like It Hot 10 times already in New York Harbor. Every night I was upstairs masturbating in the balcony. Crazy times.
Really? We're talking about all these mysteries with a lot of stories around about him. What about Jimmy Hoffa? I see that you've got a little something about Jimmy Hoffa in there and his body. That
Well,
that seems to be a
Jimmy
much
Hoffa.
discussed topic.
Well, there was no big mystery about what happened to Jimmy. Because, Jimmy came out, found God, and
Yeah,
Frank Fitzsimmons, including myself, borrowed a lot of money already from the. I mean, Vegas was built on the
yeah,
Teamsters pension fund. Every dime was down there.
yeah,
Now this guy's going to come out, and they got rid of him. And everybody's going to dig him up every time the FBI wants to raise some money or get some. They say someplace else and they go dig something else. They're never
yeah,
going to find this guy. This guy was crushing a car presser on Staten Island by the Breezy brothers.
yeah. Interesting. So it's always a point of contention about that. Did they take him right, do him right there in Detroit, in the Detroit area, and get rid of him? That was always my contention because you wouldn't want to haul a body that far. There's another
They,
guy
they
that said
did.
that took him to
They
New
pushed the
Jersey and buried
car.
him.
No, this is what happened. On the highway, they had it set up. In the Buick he was in, on the highway, a big one of those big like bus tow trucks came behind his car,
Yeah.
and they pushed him right up in a ramp into a semi. They closed the doors and they asphyxiated themselves by the exhaust of the tractor trailer because they tapped it through the floors. By the time they got
Oh,
to Staten Island, both of them were dead.
huh. Both of them. Who was the other guy? Well, who was now? Chucky O'Brien wasn't had gone by then. Who else was with him?
No, some guy he knew.
Oh,
So
okay.
he put a bunch of new people together when they got out.
Okay. Who is his new driver? That's what
Yeah.
you're saying? Okay, interesting. I hadn't heard that theory or that story. A lot of them out there. You got some stuff in there about Pablo Escobar. Now, how could you, a little nice little Italian boy from New York City, who admittedly had a big part at a very young age and met a lot of important people, how could you end up with Pablo Escobar?
Well, it's funny because we spoke earlier. One of the forwards on my new book is Steve Sciarippa.
Yeah,
And Steve Sciarippa, is from Bacala, from The Sopranos, and now Blue Bloods. And he was going to the University of Nevada. And I used to hire all these guys to
yeah.
work my club, Gianni Russo State Street. And that club was 10,000 square foot with a casino and everything else.
Wow.
And that was in the 80s. And one night, a guy came in. We used to have all kinds of people come. We operated 12 hours a day, 6 at night to 6 in the morning. I served gourmet food until 6 in the morning.
Hmm.
That's where I got my biggest clientele because in Nevada, with the unions, they only had coffee shops after midnight.
Uh,
They would send me all the high rollers. And this guy came in one night with a girl, and we was comped. They brought him right to the comped area. So I called Steve. I said, Steve, who's the guy? He said, I don't know who he is. I said, who comped him? They said, Caesars. It's all right. The next thing I know, we send over a bottle of Cristal, a bottle of Louis XIII. We whacked them right up because Caesar's paying $1,800 bill he opened up with. He ain't paying. He gets the Cristal bottle, breaks it on the table, and sticks it in his girl's face.
oh my God.
So now I call Steve. I said, get to 7. Look what happened. He said, I ain't going over there. That guy's nuts. So I get involved. I got to go over there. And
Yeah.
thank God I was wearing a Ralph Lauren, the 3-piece suit. I had a vest on. And Jack Weinstein of Tower Jewels made me 2 5-shot solid gold derringers. And I had one in each pocket in my vest. So I go over there and I said, sir, you hear these sirens? They're coming for you. Why don't you just get out of here? I don't need any problems. He said, no, man. I said, no, man. Where the hell are you from? He said, you don't want to know. I didn't know he had the neck, a bottle in his hand yet, the neck. He went for me. I went back. I got 81 stitches along my jawbone. My chin is hanging down. And
Oh
I'm saying,
shit.
how am I going to defuse this guy? So now I said, look what you did to my shirt. I waited 6 months for this. It's Sea Island cotton. He's looking at me like I got two heads. Blood is all over. I just wanted to get my hand on the gun. Soon as I got my hand on the gun, I put it right to his forehead. I put three right between his eyes. 100 people at my casino watched me do it.
Yeah.
I was Lorenzo Morales, Pablo Escobar's underboss.
Underboss.
That's
Oh
how
my
I met
God.
Pablo. Wasn't a meeting I wanted to go to, but Noriega called for me. I said, you sure I'll get out? He said, I'll call, go. And I went. So I'm at Pablo Escobar's house that he just built a prison in. Remember, he built a prison? They made a
Yeah.
deal.
Yeah.
So I'm there. I'm having dinner with him. He's got people all around him. And it's just him and I on a long table. He said, I know we have mutual friends. They said you wanted to explain what went on. I said, yeah. I said, I didn't know who your guy was. I said, I did my homework. You have a daughter, Pablo, Gina. She's the same age as my daughter, Gia. I said, I know what the Marelitos do. They're going to kill my kids, my family, and all that. And I don't think it's justified. That's why I want to come and talk to you. So he's looking at me because I didn't, if I'm going to go, fuck it. I was already there. Yeah, I've been
Yeah.
shot, run over. Take me out, but don't touch my kids. He gets up, Gary, and he walks towards me. And I don't know if the guy's going to put a knife in me. He says, stand up. I stood up. He gave me a kiss. He says, there's very few men like us. He says, so what happened? I said, the girl, he came in with a girl. He broke the bottle, stuck it in her face. I had nothing to do with it. I went over, look, I still had this, he still had bandages, the stitches.
Mhm.
This guy slit my throat. I said, I don't know who he was. If I knew he was your guy, I would have never killed him. And we stayed friends from that point on. That's so
Yeah,
crazy.
interesting. That's a crazy story there, man.
Oh, yeah. Tell me. I didn't think I was coming back. In fact, I bought a one-way ticket.
Yeah. Figured you'd come back from that one.
Oh, yeah.
So Las Vegas, you spent a lot of time in Vegas, didn't you, after New York
I went down.
and the
Nobody
business
realized I
there?
went down in the 30s. I mean, I went down in the 30s. I went down in 1959 for 30 years because they were watching the transition that Howard Hughes was making, taking over their casinos.
Hmm.
And as long as they had the count room, they didn't care who owned them.
Yeah.
And that's what I was doing because, as you know, in my last book, I moved Nick Nady, Frank Nady's kid out of Chicago. He and I moved $600 million to the Vatican from Vegas. Legal couriers. We were couriers bound by the Lloyds of London, and our employee was the Vatican. When they stopped us at the airports, we'd show them the letter. We're legal, man. They
Yeah.
said,
How come
that's
the money? Why was the money going to the Vatican from Las Vegas? I don't quite
they
follow.
were cleaning it for them and redepositing it. We were bringing 3 or 4 million just to the Vatican. They'd take their piece and then they'd deposit it wherever they wanted.
Oh, they were
That's
watching it. Somebody over there was watching it for somebody in
well,
Vegas.
who was watching over there was Marcinkus. Hello, he was a bishop from Chicago.
Okay,
Tony Accardo had that wired, man.
I see. What they didn't take right back to Chicago, why they sent out to Las Vegas, because there was some money coming back to Chicago. I'm pretty sure they needed some
Right.
walking around money. Divide up for the guys because Angelo LaPietra and all those guys were getting a piece of it, or they should have
Everybody.
been.
When it came back, they deposit where you wanted it.
Yeah.
The Vatican Bank would drop it give the account number.
Oh,
What's
then the
supposed to
Vatican
go.
would deposit it for those guys, the Jackie
Yep.
Cerrone and Angelo LaPietra and all
Jackie, I
them.
love Jackie Senior too.
Who?
Jackie. So I was in Chicago when Jackie first got out of jail.
Oh, really? You knew him? He was a
Yeah,
bad
then
dude,
the
man.
son became a lawyer.
Yeah, yeah, I know. He went to law school with an FBI agent I know, and they called each other cuz. You know how you
Right.
guys are. You call each other cuz, but if they're joking around calling each other cuz. So this
I
FBI
know.
agent tells me he's in the courtroom when and here in Kansas City when Jackie Cerrone's being charged with the skimming in a trial, and he comes out and he said something about hi cuz, and then some one of those other guys from Chicago went up to him. He said, "What's wrong with you? You're like a traitor." He said, "Here you are, a cousin to the Cerrones, and you do this to us." He said, "No, no, no, no." He said, "I just know his son, and we jokingly called each other cuz." Oh, okay.
Right. Now, he was a character. Well,
Was
even
he?
the Savellas, I love the Savellas.
Yeah.
They were
There.
God.
Cork was a character. Nick was not much of a character. He was Mr. All
Oh no, he was
Business.
just no, he was all business.
He never saw him out in the joints.
Forget
Cork
about
was all out in the joints all the time, man. You probably knew him. Did
What
you
were you
come
from?
to
Were you from Ohio originally?
who, me?
Yeah.
No, I grew up right here.
Where's
Right here.
right here? I don't know where you are.
Kansas City, where I am now.
Okay, well, there you go. Well,
Yeah.
you're close enough. Kansas
Yeah.
City, hello.
Yeah. Yeah. Cork was out in the joints all the time. Did you know their nephew Butch, who ended up out there in Las Vegas and
Oh yeah, he
and
came out. He came to my club a lot. I like Butchie.
did he? Yeah.
I don't know if he's alive anymore.
Now I understand he's in a nursing home now.
Oh, what a
So
shame.
and I think he's
He'd
back
be
in
a little
Kansas
older than
City.
me.
Yeah, yeah, he's got to be closer to 90. He was several years older than me. I remember him. He was never really part of it, the
Oh
outfit.
no, they kept him clean.
Yeah, he ran joints for him.
Right.
Here's a good story about him. The IRS wanted to get him so bad that they took an undercover, dirtied him up, put him in as a bouncer and a doorman, and he let him in one night, and they got all the records because they wanted to make his IRS case on him. And the only thing they found was that he was not declaring the cash money that they were handing to the doorman. He was charging like a $2 cover charge or something like that, just some monicum of a little bit of money cover charge to keep some of the riffraff out. And he didn't declare that's the only thing they could get. So they ended up filing a case on him, and of course it got kicked out pretty quick. So he was
Yeah.
clean. They kept him out of it.
What a gentleman too. Very
Yeah,
nice guy.
nice guy. People seem to like him. So what else would you want people to know out of this book when they get it?
The book, the interesting thing, one of the catchy things that we did on the cover note is that Scorsese got it wrong with Tony and Michael Spilotro. Because as you know, in the movie, they got beat to death in
Yeah,
Indiana in a
yeah,
cornfield. Well, on the Sunday night before they got killed, Tony Spilotro hated me because Chicago sent him to watch the Stardust and all that in Vegas. And I never got along with the guy. He's a little short guy. That's why they call him the Ant. I had all kinds of broads. I had 86 girls working for me in my club. And I wouldn't let him in because he was in the black book. I said, I can't let you in here.
yeah.
You're in the black book. For your audience that don't know, if you're in the black book, you can't go into a gaming. I could lose
Can't
my
even walk
license.
inside. Can't even go into the coffee shop, right?
Right. So he always had me at the end of his nose. So the night before, on a Saturday night, he comes to my club about 4 in the morning. And he wanted to come in. He was drunk. I said, you can't come in. He said, why, there's nobody in here. I said, I can't let you in. And I locked the door on him.
Hmm.
That Sunday night, he machine gunned my house.
Oh, really?
My house on La Paloma Avenue. He
Yeah.
got some guys to come up from San Diego, and they cut my house in half because you know I had my Sunday dinners. Thank God my house was built on a little knoll, so they were shooting up.
Uh,
But what he didn't realize, Rex Bell, who was the district attorney in Nevada, was my neighbor. They didn't get off the block, and they gave him up in 2 minutes.
nah.
So I called Chicago. I should talk, and I never talked to anybody, but the old man. And I said, Tony, the guy's getting crazy now. He shot up my house. He said, I heard about it. He said, come in on Wednesday. So I get to the airport in O'Hare, and who picks me up is Frank Collada,
No,
who
really.
I knew was with him. He
Yeah,
was
he
part of that
was.
hole in the wall gang. And I'm saying to myself, wait a minute, maybe they're doing a switch here. Maybe I'm going to get whacked.
Really.
Well, you see him, but the only good grace, they had another guy, Frankie Ballesteri, that I knew. So I get in. We walked to the car. They opened the door. They put me in the back. I said, "Well, they're not going to choke me." I thought it was, going to do another
Yeah.
caller with in the windshield.
The old
And they
Frank
take us
Calabrese necktie.
out to near the Leiden Motel. We get to a residential house. There's a couple of cars out. It's maybe midnight now. We go down. We get into the house. We go downstairs, and I could smell the stench. They had the tarps up. Michael, who had nothing to do with his brother at all,
Yeah.
a nice kid, Michael Spilotro. How they lured Tony to Chicago, they said, Michael's going to be made. You're getting too much attention, and you're going to be his underboss. And we want you to sponsor him. So he came. They were stripped nude, shackled to chairs. And Joe Batters, I don't know if you know, that's how he got the name. He liked
Yeah.
beating up. He was a
Ricardo.
bodyguard for Capone. He used
Yeah.
baseball bats.
Yeah.
So all they were doing, not all they were doing, they broke every bone in their bodies.
Mm.
And Tony wanted me to see this. And I'm saying, I don't want to see this.
Really.
And just the smell alone, I don't want to get vulgar, but just imagine. But anyway, then Tony calls me out of a whisper because he catch me at a corner of his eye. And I go over close enough, and Carlotta's stopping me.
Yeah.
And he said, tell him to kill my brother. He didn't do nothing. And I said, I can't say anything. And I walked back, and then they left. And then that's when they brought him to Indiana and buried him. But it was terrible.
Yeah, it was. It was a hard, tough way to go.
Yep.
I know the autopsy said that they'd really been beaten bad. I didn't know the extent of it, but the autopsy for sure said they'd been beaten bad.
I don't think there was a bone that wasn't broken.
Crazy, crazy, crazy. All right, Gianni Russo. The book is Untold Tales from the Hollywood Godfather, Mafia Secrets with Michael Benson. I really appreciate you coming on the show, Johnny.
Oh, thank you, man. Always, anytime.
Right.
My and great pleasure. I'll send you a book. I want to sign it and send it.
I got one. I don't have a signed one though.
All right.
I got one, but I don't have a signed one. So feel free to send me a signed one. All right.
Definitely will. Thank you so much, everybody out there. God bless you all.
All right, Johnny. Thanks for coming on. All right. See you.